Welcome back. In this module, we turn from general cultural anthropology and the culture concept to diversity, globalization, and multiculturalism. These broad concepts will provide us with useful vocabulary and perspectives as we examine more specific ways in cases of cultural diversity in the U.S. By the end of this module, you should be able to demonstrate the following outcomes. Identify and describe multiculturalism, context, power, migration, globalization, and diversity. Explain diversity and identity construction as a dynamic process situated in history, context, and individual agency, and the relationship between power and inequality within and among social groups. And explain the development and construction of differences and similarities within and between these groups. Now, believe it or not, table manners, how people eat together, is a foundational dimension of culture and hence of cultural diversity. Commensality, or eating together, is also an important site of cultural production. Here we'll look at 5 film clips, primarily of dinner scenes from cinema or television. First, we'll look at some office and dinner scenes from American Beauty, a scathing satire of dysfunctional suburban middle-class family life. Then we'll turn to the way over-the-top dinner scene from the Will Ferrell comedy Talladega Nights. Then we'll look at a Sunday dinner scene in the multi-generational Irish Catholic Reagan family from the television police drama Blue Bloods. We'll also look at a clip of a wedding banquet from the film Soul Food about the pressures in an upscale African-American family. And finally, we'll turn to a flashback dinner scene from the film American History X, which suggests how Derek Vineyard learned racism from his father, a white police officer. Each of these clips, though products of Hollywood, are suggestive of cultural diversity and multiculturalism, core themes in this module. There are 4 presentations in this module in different formats. The first presentation introduces diversity and multiculturalism. The second looks at globalization, neoliberalism, and agency. The third and fourth presentations are simple content pages which you'll read through. These include colonialism, immigration, and context, and then the struggle for culture, multiculturalism, and identity politics. Together, these presentations introduce some of the terms and concepts we'll use to reflect on cultural diversity in this course. These presentations are followed by a quiz. There are 4 short readings in the module. In Anti-Multiculturalism, Jack David Eller explores from an anthropological perspective some of the ways multiculturalism is contested in the United States and why he supports multiculturalism. In Growing Up American, Doing the Right Thing, anthropologist Amparo Ojeda, who is originally from the Philippines, writes about some of the adjustments she's had to make, but also how she sticks to her Filipino values, especially when it comes to raising her daughter. In an op-ed piece for the New York Times, What Biracial People Know, Moises Velasquez Manoff makes a case for the value of multi-ethnic, multi-racial perspectives. Diversity, as he sees it, can enhance the bottom line. And finally, in Schools Push a Curriculum of Propaganda, columnist George Will writes about multicultural and diversity education in the U.S., calling it a huge waste of money. In other words, Will, as he sees it, this course for you would be a total waste of time. What you really need to know, according to Will, is the 3 R's. I'll be interested to see your take in the study questions that follow these readings. At the very least, it's important to know that multiculturalism, especially when politicized, is seen as threatening to some people because it challenges the status quo. What is the status quo? At the end of this module, I'll introduce your first ethnographic observation. For this assignment, you need to get out and go to find a venue where diversity, as you understand it, is taking place. A store, a church, a festival, a courthouse, a bar, a powwow, city streets, etc. I want you to observe interactions in this space and to describe what you see. Then you'll propose a cultural analysis of what you've observed. What is going on culturally? What is the cultural logic of the people who are operating here? This paper will be due at the end of Module 4. And then in Module 3, we provide a very brief historical framework for diversity and also discuss immigration, which has been a controversial issue in the United States in recent years.